أما بعد يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى إن الذين يحادون الله ورسوله كبتوا كما كبت الذين من قبلهم وقد أنزلنا آيات بينات وللكافرين عذاب مهين. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that as we explain, that this ayat is talking about those who oppose Allah and His Messenger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it is not for believing men or believing women after Allah or His Messenger has decreed a matter for them to have any opinion or choice in it. So this is the way of the believer, that they I hear and I obey. They do not oppose the command. And later on in this same surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarifies even further the loss or the reality of the people who oppose Allah, and also those and the severity of opposing Allah, and what is the stance of the believer with those who oppose Allah. So we'll come to that towards the end of this surah. What is the stance of those who oppose Allah? Who are you with? Who are you with? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says with regards to them, they are definitely those who oppose Him. He described them as kuffar and promised them a severe, humiliating, disgracing torment. The next ayah, Allah says, يَوْمَ يَبْعَثُهُمُ اللَّهُ جَمِيعًا فَيُنَبِّئُهُم بِمَا عَمِلُوا أَحْصَاهُ اللَّهُ وَنَسُوهُ وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدٌ أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ مَا يَكُونُ مِن نَجْوَى ثَلَاثَةٍ إِلَّا هُوَ رَابِعُهُمْ ولا خمسة إلا هو سادسهم ولا أدنى من ذلك ولا أكثر إلا هو معهم أينما كانوا ثم ينبئهم بما عملوا يوم القيامة إن الله بكل شيء عليم. So this is verses 6 and 7. Someone wants to read these? 6 and 7.
On the day when Allah will resurrect them all and inform them of what they did, Allah had enumerated it while they forgot it. And Allah is over all things witness. Verse 7, ayat 7. Have you not considered that Allah knows what it is in the heavens and what is on the earth? There is in no private conversation there three, but that He is the fourth of them, nor are there five, but that He is the sixth of them, and no less than that, and no more, except that He with them in knowledge, wherever they are, then He will inform them of what they did on the day of resurrection. Indeed, Allah is of all things knowing.
Jazakumullah khairan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, on the day He will resurrect creation, all of creation will be brought back, and they will rise from their graves in a speedy way, in a haste, so that He can hold each and every individual responsible for what it is that they did. So Allah is talking about what? Yawmul Qiyamah, the day of resurrection, when each of His creation from the beginning to the end will be resurrected, and they will stand before Allah, and they will be held accountable for what they did. And Allah, He says, فَيُنَبِّئُهُم بِمَا عَمِلُوا, and they will be informed about what they used to do. So they will be reminded of everything that they did, from the good and from the evil. Nothing will be left out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَحْصَاهُ اللَّهُ وَنَسُوهُ. Allah has counted every single thing and not forgot anything, while you have what? Forgotten about it. While you have forgotten. So nothing has been left out. And they said, That is going to be where? It's going to be placed where? In that great book, Allahu al-Mahfuz. So this is where it be held in that preserved tablet. So everything would be there recorded. And we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has those noble angels, kiraman katibin, writing down. Honorable angels, right? Honorable scribes, writing down all that you do. Ya'lamuna ma taf'alun. They know everything that you do. So those who work deeds or did deeds that they may have forgotten what they did, they will be what? Reminded of what they used to do. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a complete record of it. And Allah says that Wallahu ala kulli shay'in shaheed, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is a witness over all things, including all things that's apparent to us that we can see, that we know of, even those things that we don't know of. So those things that are apparent and those things that are not apparent. Those things that we make apparent and those things that we try to hide and we conceal. Nothing escapes Allah's knowledge. Nothing escapes His hearing. Nothing escapes His sight. So know that Allah knows and is aware of all things. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He describes how wide His knowledge is, which encompasses the heavens and the earth. He says, Alam tara anna Allah ya'lamu ma fi samawati wa fil ard. Can you not see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything that is in the heavens and everything that is on the earth? Whether it is minute, something small, or very insignificant, or something big. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows it all. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and this is something we have to take heed to here. He says, مَا يَكُونُ مِن نَجْوَى ثَلَاثَةٍ إِلَّا هُوَ رَابِعُهُم. There cannot be any type of secret council, any discussions going on, nothing happens. There's three people, but He is what? The fourth. هُوَ رَابِعُهُم. And He says, وَلَا خَمْسَةً, and not five people, وَهُوَ سَادِسُهُم, and He is the sixth of them. And He says, وَلَا أَدْنَى, even if it's less, if it's three people, if it's two people, if it's one, Allah is there, وَأَكْثَرْ, or more. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's there. He's present. Not in His essence, وَلَكِنْ بِعِلْمِهِ, by His knowledge. Not بِذَاتِهِ, right? Some people say Allah is everywhere. La. بِعِلْمِهِ, by His knowledge, laysa dhatihi. So we have to make clarification of that. This statement that the people say, Ayn Allah, where's Allah? They say, Fi kulli makan, la. That's not correct. He's not in every place. He's not in every place. And the dalil with that is what, when the Prophet ﷺ got the issue of one of the companions, he had a slave girl who was watching over some of his sheep, and one of them got lost and got eaten. And so when he found out about it, he got mad, just like any person do. We sometimes forget and we lose control. You lost for example, my car, it's your wealth. You lost my, pop, he smacked her. And then he came to his senses, like, man, why did I do that? So he went to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What should I do? This is what I did. What should I do? Should I free her? What can I do to make up for this? So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to bring her. So she came, and then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, asked her a question, Ayn Allah, where's Allah? And she said, Fi sama, yani fawqa sama, above the heavens. And he said, and who am I? Man ana. She said, Anta Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you are the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, free her, because she is what? A believer. Where's Allah? Did she say fi kulli makan, every place? La. Fi sama, above the heavens. So this is what we have to understand, that Allah, He is above His throne, right? He's above His throne, and He's above the heavens, and His throne is above them. So this is something that we have to know, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us, and there's nothing that can be concealed from Him. He is with us, as He says, Huwa ma'ahum aynama kanu. Wherever you may be, Allah is with you. He knows. ثُمَّ يُنَبِّئُهُم بِمَا عَمَلُوا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, and then they will be brought to knowledge, they will be made aware, informed of what they used to do on the day of Qiyamah, the day of standing, this day that's like 50,000 years. We can't even imagine standing for 50,000 years. We can't even stand through the eclipse prayer. We can't even stand through Taraweeh. So can we stand for 50,000 years? Nah. All right, we might can stand at the rides at Six Flags Great America. Right, people have they sit down there too, right? But they go through extremes. They suffer. It's hot. They're still there. They don't complain. But the moment you say stand for prayer, they cannot do it. So we have to understand and think, where is my faith at? Where did I believe in? Do I believe in Allah, or I just believe in following and fulfilling my desires? And Allah says, "Inna Allah bikulli shay'in alim." Indeed, Allah is well aware of everything. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that there's no najwa, there's no secret council of 3 or 5 or whatever the number may be, but He is there. Allah being with them means here by His knowledge that encompasses their najwa, their secret counsel, and what they conceal between themselves. So what they think there's a secret, no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. And Allah's statement that He is the knower of all things. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the next verse, ألم تر إلى الذين نهوا عن النجوى ثم يعودون لما نهوا عنه ويتناجون بالإثم والعدوان ومعصية الرسل وإذا جاءوك حيوك بما لم يحيك به الله ويقولون في أنفسهم لولا يعذبنا الله بما نقول حسبهم جهنم يصلونها فبئس المصير يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تناجيتم فلا تناجوا بالإثم والعدوان ومعصية الرسول وتناجوا بالبر والتقوى واتقوا الله الذي إليه تحشرون. This verses, can someone read the next one? I guess you're the designated reader.
Right, and I meant to just be quiet all the way to the second.
Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you.
This is Ayah 8.
Yes.
Have you not considered those who were forbidden from private conversations, ridicule, and conspiracy, and then returned to that which they were forbidden, and conversations among themselves about sin and aggression and disobedience to the messenger? And when they come to you, they greet you with that word by which Allah does not greet you, and say among themselves, why does Allah not punish us for what we say? Sufficient for them is hell, which they will enter to burn, and which is the destination.
Okay, inshallah. So when Allah mentions here najwa, secret counsel here, it is the type of secret discussions that people have, right? The secret meetings, the secret plottings, whatever it is, they're planning, whatever, secret discussions. So this could be between 2 people, 3 people, whatever amount. So usually it's going to be at least 2 people, right? So if a person, he's making najwa with himself, this is something strange, right? So at least they're going to be 2 people, right? So it could be either for good or it could be for evil. So having secret counsel, it could be for the benefit, or it could be for something that is harmful to the actual individual or individuals who's making this najwa. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He ordered the mu'minin, He ordered the believers, أَن يَتَنَاجُوا بِالْبِرِّ, and to that they make secret counsel with what is good and khair, righteous. So if you're going to gather together, you're going to have some secret counsel, let it be for good, for benefit, not for something harmful, not for something that takes people back or harms the progress and growth of the Muslims, but rather going to advance the Muslims, going to advance you in your deen and your practice. This is good counsel. This is good conversations that we can have. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the righteous with that. And so He also says with taqwa, which we know it means abandoning all forbidden things. So if you're calling people or you're inviting a person, so you're reminding them to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this type of talk, this type of gathering is good. So any type of righteous things that's going to benefit the soul or benefit the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then this is the right type of counsel that we should have. What helps us to include the rights of Allah and His slaves. So the believers, the mu'mineen, they obey this command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so they only engage in conversations that bring them closer to Allah and farther away from His wrath. This is the type of secret counsels that you'll find believers. So you're not going to find two people sitting over there. If they're talking secretly, you should know that, alhamdulillah, they're talking what's going to benefit them, that's going to help them. Not something they're plotting to go commit some crime, plotting to harm someone. No, but they're talking to increase their taqwa. This is the praiseworthy type of najwa. So the sinners, on the opposite, they will belittle Allah's command and engage in sinful najwa that involves aggression and disobedience of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just like the hypocrites had this behavior and demeanor with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when you're talking the opposite, opposing Allah, opposing His Messenger, talking evil talk, then this is like the hypocrites do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and when they come to you, وَإِذَا جَاءُوكَ حَيَّوْكَ, they greet you with a greeting other than what Allah greets you with. So they have misbehaved with you in a matter when they greeted you. And they say within themselves, they conceal in their hearts with the knower, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the knower of all hidden things, and the parent has exposed. This ayat was revealed, or said is revealed regarding a situation. One of those that's mentioned we mentioned Abdullah ibn Amr radiallahu anhu, he narrated, and there's another narration, that some Yahud, some Jews, they used to say, Salamu alaikum. Meaning what? Death be upon you. So they used to say that to the Messenger of Allah. So this person say, Salamu alaikum. What did he say? Assalamu alaikum or Salamu alaikum? Assalamu alaikum, right? So you say it fast, the person might not catch it, right? So they used to say, Assalamu alaikum. Then they would say to themselves, if only Allah would punish us for what we say. Not really believing in it. They was, this is a hypocritical statement. Meaning we're not believing that there's any recompense for what we say. So they're saying something evil to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And likewise, people, they say this to the believers, but then they think there's no recompense for what they do. So in another narration, Aisha radiallahu anha, she was with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they came past some Jews and they said, Assalamu alaikum. And Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, Wassalamu alaikum, wa dham alaik. So she increased. She said, may death be upon you, may you be disgraced, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, take it easy. Relax, ya Aisha. Chill out. Don't do that. He said, Inna Allah, indeed Allah, He does not like fuhsh, which is, or tafahush, which is a foul, indecent speech. Allah does not like that. Allah does not like that. And she said, did you not hear what they said? He said, did you not hear what I said? You didn't hear what they said to you? Did you hear my response? Wa alaik. Wa alaik. I don't have to go into cursing them out. I don't have to go in excess of what they did. Look at our Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The people who talking bad about him, and he said, wa alaik. I'm just going to return to you what you sent upon me. But what we do? Alhamdulillah, sometimes we have our strong wives and they defend their husbands. And sometimes they defend them when they wrong. Right? You're supposed to only defend when they right, sisters. If they wrong, don't defend them. Defend them. Right? So when they're right, defend them. Alhamdulillah. But sometimes people, they defend even in the wrong. And sometimes the tongue is very dangerous, right? And so that's whatever the situation may be. If someone says something to you, you don't have to go overboard. You don't have to go overboard. You could just lake and keep it moving. Don't let your ego get in there where you start to destroy yourself. And you go from the one that was oppressed to the oppressor, so simply. You could be the one that was being oppressed, and then you start oppressing. And we know the tongue is a wicked thing. It can strike the neck of someone so severely that they cannot recover. They'll be messed up all day and all night over what someone said. Not what someone did to them, or what what they said to them. So be careful about the tongue. So he said Allah does not like indecent speech. Alright? So this is something we have to remember. Don't go into talking bad about people, cursing them out and using indecent speech. We only say what is good. Did he say something? Did you hear what I said? Wow, Nick. That's it. That's it. You don't have to go any further. This is the adab that the Muslim should have. The etiquette, even with the enemies. Even with the enemies. So then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says that they were not, with a Sheikh, this is taken from Sheikh Sa'di rahimahullah, he said they were not concerned that they thought that what they said would not produce repercussions, since the punishment did not come upon them immediately, right? So because they didn't get struck down right then and there, nothing's going to happen, right? And I got it with it. He didn't say anything about it, right? Nothing's going to happen. So they continue in their aggression, a lot of people. They think they got away with something, and instead of just, taking, I got a win, a W, they want to go more and more and more. And they continue in their aggression and their oppression against the people. They don't know how to stop because they don't see the direct punishment now. But they don't know that it's like what we say, you dig your hole even deeper, right? That's the statement, right? The saying? They're digging their hole deeper. So whether they're digging themselves deeper and putting themselves in more and more trouble, they're putting themselves in more and more punishment in their grave, Yawm al-Qiyamah, and in the fire. They're only hurting their own selves. So do not be from those who oppress others. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, while explaining that he gives respite, but it's never negligent. So Allah is never negligent. So the people will get what they deserve. He says, what mean hell will be sufficient for them. Hasbuhum jahannam. Hell will be sufficient for them. They will burn therein, and worse indeed is that destination. Hell is sufficient for them. Hell wherein is collected every type of misery and punishment that will completely surround them with its torment. And Allah says, and what means, and worse indeed is that destination. So those mentioned here are either a group of hypocrites that was having these secret that was talking about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or those who pretended to be faithful believers and greeted the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a manner that was not really a good manner, evil manner rather, untruthful reality. Well, they are from among the people of the book who, when they greeted the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they said, "Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad," wishing death for him. So these are one of the two of the groups, because there's two strong narrations with regard to this situation, and with both of them they have the same meanings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in verse 10, إِنَّمَا النَّجْوَى مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ لِيَحْزُنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَيْسَ بِضَارِّهِمْ شَيْئًا إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ.
Private conversations is only from Shaitan, that he may grieve those who have believed, but he will not harm them at all, except by permission of Allah. And upon Allah, let the believers rely.
وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. So this is what we want to be from amongst the mu'minun. Those who do what? Rely upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah says with regard to secret counsels, which pertain to the enemies of the believers, conspiring against them through deceit and cunning, seeking evil, help from the devil, from shaitan, whose deceit is weak, whose cunning is unproductive. It says, in order that he may cause grief to the believers. This is what they try to do. They want to cause grief and harm and sadden you. This is the ultimate aim and mission behind these plots. And Allah says what means, but He cannot harm them in the least. They cannot harm them at all, except what Allah permits. So whatever Allah has not written for you, it ain't gonna happen. And whatever He has written for you, it will happen. So do not worry about their secret counsel and their plots. Rely upon and trust in who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised the believers that they will be sufficed for and will triumph over their enemy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا يَحِيقُ الْمَكْرُ السَّيِّئِ إِلَّا بِأَهْلِهِ. But the evil plot only falls upon those who do the evil plot in themselves. It only goes back to them. They only plot to harm themselves. So regardless of the extent the harm produced by the plots and deceit of the enemies of Allah, His messenger and the believers will only touch them and will not harm the believers, except by that which Allah has already measured and decreed. And Allah says, and in Allah, let the believers put their trust. Let them rely on Allah and put their trust in His promise. For certainty, those who trust in Allah, Allah will be enough for them and will manage their religious and worldly affairs. And then Allah says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قيل لكم تفحصحوا في المجالس فافسحوا يفسح الله لكم وإذا قيل انشزوا فانشزوا يرفع الله الذين آمنوا منكم والذين أوتوا العلم درجات والله بما تعملون خبير.
O you who have believed, when you are told, space yourselves in assemblies, then make space. Allah will make space for you. And when you are told, arise, then arise. Allah will raise those who have believed among you and those who were given knowledge, but by degrees. And Allah is aware of what you do.
So in this ayat, it was related by Muqatil. He said, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في صحفة. So he was in a place called Suhfa, and the place was very tight place. And this was on a Friday. It was a very small place and it was crowded. So the Prophet ﷺ, he used to give preference to some of the Ansar and the Muhajirin who they participated in the Battle of Badr. So he said, when they came, what happened? He asked the people to do what? Make space. Make space for your brothers. But the people from amongst the hypocrites started to cause problems again and start to say, look at your prophet. He prefers people over other people. You were here first, Why make space? Just let them stay in the back or whatever, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here in this ayah is teaching us the etiquettes and manners that sometimes the Muslims lack. We lack manners with a lot of things. We lack manners with how we should sit when we're having our halaqats, how we should be. What is the etiquettes of the halaqah, the circles of knowledge, right? So he says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching good mannerism to His believing worshippers, and that when they attend social gatherings, and some of them or newcomers need a place to sit, it is good manners to do what? To make space for them. Make space, right? Open up the circle so they can also join in. He said this will not cause the least harm or bother to those already sitting, but will benefit their brothers. So think about your brothers in Islam, your sisters in Islam, make space for them to come in. Alhamdulillah, we see from amongst the Muslims here that they generally do that. Since the reward is similar in nature to the action, Allah will grant ample room from His mercy to those who make space for their brothers and sisters, and make it easy for those who make it easy for their brothers. So if you make it easy for someone, Allah will make it easy for you. If you remove a burden from a person, Allah will remove a burden from you. Allah says what means, and when you are told to rise up, get up, make space, or to leave your spot, or you leave for a need, then get up and hurry to fulfill the need. Surely doing this is a part of religious knowledge and Iman, faith, and Allah raises those who have knowledge and Iman degrees as much as He has granted them of knowledge and Iman. So we have to learn how to do what? Follow instructions. We have to learn how to act and how to be amongst one another. So these things have to sometimes be taught because we may think what is appropriate for what we've grown up in our society. We may think is appropriate, but in Islamically, it may not be so appropriate. So we have to be taught what is the right way, what are the best etiquettes to have. And he says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah, what means, and Allah is well acquainted with what you do. And he will recompense each according to their deeds, good if one does good, and evil if one does evil. So this ayat, it points to the virtue of knowledge and the fact that its beauty and its fruits lies in observing the etiquette of seeking knowledge and acting upon it. So we have to know, seek knowledge, learn it, and act upon it. Okay? Then Allah says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا ناجيتم الرسول فقدموا بين يدي نجواكم صدقة. This is a problematic verse for some people. Right? We'll talk about it. ذلك خير لكم وأطهر فإن لم تجدوا فإن الله غفور رحيم. أشفقتم أن تقدموا بين يدي نجواكم صدقات فإذ لم تفعلوا وتاب الله عليكم فأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأطيعوا الله ورسوله والله خبير بما تعملون. تفضل.
Is that 12 and 13?
Yes.
You who have believed, when you wish to privately consult the messenger, present before your consultation in charity that is better for you and purer. But if you find not the means, then indeed Allah is forgiving and merciful. Have you feared to present before your consultation charities? Then when you do not, and Allah has forgiven you, then at least establish prayer and give zakat and obey Allah and His Messenger, and Allah is aware of what you do.
Khair, inshallah. So y'all know that when you come to the sheikh, you have to bring a check. Huh? You hear this ayat?
Yeah.
You need to talk to the sheikh, you have to bring a check. Huh? We read the ayat, right? Huh? So we can't deny it exists. Someone had asked me, I was joking with them, but they said, I need to talk to you. I said, how much you paying? What do you mean? How much you paying? Right? And we'll explain why. We'll explain why. Okay? So, where is that part? Okay? When you need advice, you want to seek knowledge. What are you paying? What from the sadaqah are you paying? What are you paying? Huh? Your presence. Okay. Me being there, huh?
A smile.
A smile, huh? All right. So here it was actually talking about, amwal. Huh? Money. Dirham, dinar. This is the sadaqah that is meant here. It wasn't the smiling sadaqah. Huh? All right. That may help. All right. But this was later added. So this was something that was laid down because time and time again, sometimes people, they occupy the time of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They have lots of questions, right? Lots of time. So time and time, they occupy time and time again, right? And some of the people are only occupying time to do what? Waste time. Waste time. So, okay. All right. But to show your respect, present something. Present something to show your respect, right? And this is something that continues. You see amongst many people, they still do this. When they seek the help, they seek the advice or any service from imams, from the shuyukh, they give something. They give something. People still practice that. So, but it was also the people who were serious. Some of them, they were what? Poor. Some people were rich and some people were poor. And so from amongst a lot of the rich people, they really weren't sincere in their reason of why they wanted to sit with the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But so those people who were poor, they still what? I need this knowledge. I need this advice. So they, whatever they had, they came with something. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the next verse, relieved them. So you don't have the ability. If you don't have the ability, there's no what? There's no burden upon you. There's no sin upon you. And Allah will what? Forgive you. Allah will forgive you. So he said, but make sure what you do is establish that prayer. You establish that prayer. Establish that in your life. So this is in short with this. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to establish the prayer by fulfilling its pillars and its conditions, right? What, like some of the conditions of salat are what? What are conditions of salat? Who knows? Just give me some. Wudu. Right? So you have to have tahara, you have to be in state of purity. And wudu, you have to have your wudu in order to pray. Right? So you have to meet its conditions. You have to meet its pillars. What are some of the pillars? Name a pillar from the prayer. A pillar of the salat. Huh? No, the pillar of the salat. Tashahhud. Yeah. Okay. So making the takbir, saying Allahu Akbar, standing, making ruku', down, standing back up, making sujood. These are all what? Pillars. Al-Fatiha is a pillar. Okay. So also, he said, and give zakat. So this is ordained on your wealth for those who give to those who are in need and deserve it. So these two acts are the foundation of physical and monetary acts of worship. Whoever fulfills them in the prescribed manner will have fulfilled the rights of Allah and the rights of his slaves. This is what Allah says next, and obey Allah and his messenger. This commandment is encompassing and includes obeying Allah and obeying his messenger by fulfilling their commandments, avoiding their prohibitions, and believing in the news that is conveyed to them. So whatever the Prophet has conveyed, believing in it, and respecting Allah's limits, and also respecting his messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So matters in all of this is sincerity. So it all has to be sincere. So when you're approaching, don't waste the people's time. Be sincere. When you're approaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well with your acts of ibadah, be sincere. That you're doing it only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you're not doing it for others. Do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah's statement that what means, and Allah is all aware of what you do. He knows their actions and the reason which they did these actions, and therefore will hold them accountable according to his knowledge of what their hearts conceal. So Allah knows what's in your heart. He knows why you do what it is that you do. Then Allah says, Alam tara ila alladhina tawallaw qawman ghadiba Allahu alayhim ma hum minkum wala minhum wa yahlifuna ala al-kadhib wa hum ya'lamun. أعد الله لهم عذابا شديدا إنهم ساء ما كانوا يعملون اتخذوا أيمانهم جنة فصدوا عن سبيل الله فلهم عذاب مهين لن تغني عنهم أموالهم ولا أولادهم من الله شيئا أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون يوم يبعثهم الله جميعا فيحلفون له كما يحلفون لكم ويحسبون أنهم على شيء ألا إنهم هم الكاذبون استحوذ عليهم الشيطان فأنساهم ذكر الله أولئك حزب الشيطان ألا إن حزب الشيطان هم الخاسرين. I'll read this inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what means, have you not seen those hypocrites he's talking about here, who take as friends a people whom is the wrath of Allah upon them. So be careful who you're taking as your friends. So you can be considered a hypocrite by having the people as friends, those who are what? The enemies of Allah, those who will have the wrath of Allah. So you have to be careful about your friendship. They are neither of you nor of them. They're in between. They're going back and forth. And they swear to a lie while they know. Allah has prepared for them a severe torment. Evil indeed is that which they used to do. They have made their oaths a screen for their evil actions. So they say, we believe, so that's a screen for them. We're amongst the believers, but they're actually plotting behind, and they're going back and forth between you and the enemies and your enemies. Thus they hinder people from the path of Allah, so they shall have a humiliating torment. Their wealth and their children will not benefit them anything against Allah. They will be the dwellers of the fire to dwell therein forever, on the day when Allah will resurrect them all together for their accounts. Then they will swear to him as they swear to you, meaning to us, the Muslims. And they think that they have something to stand upon. Verily they are liars, meaning they really don't have anything. They think they're standing upon something, but they're standing upon nothing. Shaitan has overpowered them, so he has made them forget the remembrance of Allah. They are the party of Shaitan. Verily it is the party of Shaitan that will be the losers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the detested condition of the hypocrites who take the disbelievers from among the Yahud and the Nasara, from the Jews and Christians, and others among those who Allah is angry with them, who earn the curse of Allah to the fullest extent for supporters. So those who have earned the anger of Allah, those who go against Allah, you cannot take them as your friends and your supporters. Because remember, you will be with those who you accompany with. Amaru ala dini khalili, an individual's upon the way of his close friend. So be careful who you choose to be your close companions. Be careful, because you will also be with those you have love in your heart for them. You're going to be with them, with those who you love, Yawmul Qiyamah. And your heart can't be in two places. All right? When it comes to this, it cannot be in two places. It's either going to be with Allah and His Messenger, or it's going to be other than that. There's no straddling the fence here. You can't straddle the fence. You got to be on one side or the other. Like Sheikh Bush said years ago, you're either with us or you're against us. All right? That's what he was talking about, right? So that's the idea. You're either on this side or that side. May Allah guide him. So Allah says, مُذَبْذَبِينَ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ لَا إِلَّا هَؤُلَاءِ وَلَا إِلَّا هَؤُلَاءِ. So they are swinging back and forth between the two. They're not belonging to this or not to those. They are not believers outwardly or inwardly. Since their inward is in reality with the disbelievers, neither are they with the disbelievers, both inwardly and outwardly, because outwardly they pretend to be with the believers. This is the description Allah gave them. They falsely swear to the opposite of what they truly are, swearing to the believers while they knowing of themselves they are not real believers. The punishment of these betraying, lying sinners is that Allah has prepared for them severe torment, which measure is unknown and cannot be fully described. Worse indeed is that which they used to do, since they were surrounded by the anger of Allah, which earned them the wrath of Allah. When Allah says, and they use their oaths as a screen, as a shield, a shelter behind which they screen themselves from the blame of Allah, His Messenger, and the believers, this is how they hindered themselves and others from the path of Allah, because they were pretenders. They were faking. So they hindered the people from the path and the growth in Islam. And so that leads them to the hellfire, where Allah says they will have a humiliated torment because they were arrogant regarding the faith and regarding obeying Allah and regarding this religion. They will have a severe, everlasting torment. Allah says what means in their wealth and their children will not avail them nothing against Allah. So their possessions that they have, it will not help them. Their children that they have will not help them. Nothing will be able to help them against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they will be the dwellers of the fire who remain in it, and when they will never depart from it. So this is for the munafiqeen, and we ask Allah to not make us from amongst them. Ameen. They will be in darku asfal, meaning the lowest places of the hellfire. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُحَادُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ أُولَٰئِكَ فِي الْأَذِلِّينَ كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَأَغْلِبَنَّ أَنَّ رَسُولِي إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَوِيٌّ عَزِيزٌ. So Allah says in verse 20 and 21. Father?
Go ahead. 20 and 21.
Yes.
Allah has written, decreed, I will surely overcome, I and my messengers. Indeed, Allah is powerful and exalt in might.
So I just asking permission to have 10 minutes. Can I have 10 minutes? I know it's past 9. I just have 10 minutes or less, inshallah. Is that okay? Okay, inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says here, to those who oppose Allah and His Messenger, they will be among the lowest. Allah has decreed, verily it is I and my messengers who shall be the victorious, where Allah is all powerful and mighty. So this is both a promise and a threat. A promise and a threat. A threat for those who oppose Allah and His Messenger through disbelief and sin, and that they will be defeated, they will be humiliated, and they will not earn the good end, nor will they raise a triumphant flag. It is a promise to those who believe in Allah and His messengers and follow what the messengers came with, thus becoming along amongst Allah's victorious party, Hizbullah. They will earn victory, triumph, and the upper hand in this life and the hereafter. This is a promise that shall never be broken or changed, because it is coming from the truthful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the all-able, the all-capable, the almighty, who was never unable to do what he wills. And then Allah says, لا تجد قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من هاد الله ورسوله ولو كانوا آباءهم أو أبناءهم أو إخوانهم أو عشيرتهم أولئك كتب في قلوبهم الإيمان وأيدهم بروح منه ويدخلهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه أولئك حزب الله ألا إن حزب الله هم المفلحون. This is the last ayat right here. It's complete, inshallah. The further.
You will not find a people who believe in Allah in the last day having affection for those who oppose Allah and His Messenger, even if they were their fathers or their sons or their brothers or their kindred. Those He has decreed within their hearts faith and supported them with the Spirit from Him. And we will admit them to gardens beneath which rivers flow, wherein they abide eternally. Allah is pleased with them, and they are pleased with Him, Allah. Those are the party of Allah. Unquestionably, the party of Allah, they are the successful.
Okay, inshallah. So this ayah right here, and other people become confused. People become confused. And we have to talk about at times, what is the meaning of having love for people, having love for what people? What is friendship? What is support? What does that mean? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here, you will not find people who believe in Allah having any love and friendship with those who oppose Allah and His Messenger. So how do we balance that? How do someone who accepted Islam, they have family members who are not Muslim, how do they deal with that? Who knows the answer?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I see a situation like that if they're disbelievers, and if you understand the essence of humanity, being that of the presence of Allah, not the essence of Allah, but the presence of Allah, the knowledge and His attributes and what have you, then one can easily love the essence of a person, even though that person may not know what the essence of themselves are. But you can dislike their outward actions or oppose, But the essence of everyone is the presence of Allah. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's a dangerous statement. Dangerous statement. Anyone else? We're gonna come.
Well, we're not supposed to sever the ties of our loved ones.
Okay.
Right? So still have to deal with them according to how the Prophet ﷺ dealt with non-believers. So fairly and justly and kindly.
Okay, inshallah. Okay. So this, we're going to bring it in the middle here. All right. So on the one hand, we have to put everything in its place. All right. Everything has a place. For every statement, for every action, there's a place for it to be. So when it comes to, for example, when we say our relatives, okay, they have, as you said, a right upon us. They have a right upon us that is legislated in the Quran and the Sunnah. So Allah, it's already legislated that my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my uncle, my aunt, my grandmother that are disbelievers, they don't believe as I believe, they still have a right upon me to good treatment. And my parents, they still have the right of obedience to them, right? And doing my best to serve them. They still have their right, even though they what? Are not believers. So we see the rahmah of Islam. We see how Islam still shows mercy. and encourages what? Good treatment. And also warns against severing those ties. So it's not allowed. It's haram to cut them off. Even we say a story of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, and we know the story of the situation with Aisha radiallahu anha when they was making the claim that she had committed a major sin. And one of the people who was carrying his room around was a relative of Abu Bakr, who he was supporting financially. And Abu Bakr taking this as an insult. You insult my daughter? You insult my friend Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with this? I'm done with you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed a verse regarding this. Still support your relative. Even though they're wrong and they are what? Being oppressive, still support them. Still continue to do good to them. So this is a proof in and of itself that we still have to give them a certain level of rights, even though they may be saying and doing things wrong. This comes with our relatives. Now, and then we know that the Prophet ﷺ, he said in a very famous hadith, "Man kana yu'minu billah wa yawmil akhir falyukrim jarahu." Whoever believes in Allah on the last day, let him do what? Honor his neighbor. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, I kept being advised by Jibril so much about the neighbor, so I thought that the neighbor would inherit me. I thought that the neighbor would be my inheritors. They're going to inherit it from me. And who was his neighbors? They weren't all Muslim. The people that lived around him, in front of him, and they weren't all Muslim. They were disbelievers. So even the person who's not a believer, you still have to treat them with a decency as humans, right? Remember when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he said to the angels that I'm going to create in this earth a Khalifa, he was talking about who? He was talking about us, the Muslims. He was talking about the Muslims. The angel said, are you going to create another creation that's going to shed blood and cause mischief and corruption in the earth while we constantly praise you and magnify you? Are you going to do that? And Allah says what? Indeed, I know what you do not know. So that the khulafa, those people, who is he talking about? As we mentioned earlier, kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. You are the best of people raised up from amongst mankind. We are those people. We have a duty, we have responsibility upon all of Allah's creation. Those who believe as we believe and those who don't believe as we believe. We still have a responsibility to them. We have a responsibility to make sure that they get their basic, as they say, the human rights. We have to make sure that they are taken care of, that they have something to eat, that they have, that they are being dealt with justly. And we saw that in the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when cases came before him, a Muslim and a non-Muslim. And who got the judgment in their favor? The non-Muslim. Justice, it doesn't matter who it's about, who it's for. Even if, as he said, Allah said, even if it's against your own selves, your own parents, your own family, you have to deal justly. You have to be just. So what does it mean here, though? That there's a limitation to the type of feeling that we have and the love. So it's one thing that I respect you. It's one thing that I treat you well. And it's another thing that I confide in you with the matters with my life, with my hereafter. And I can't go to a person who don't believe as I believe to seek advice with regard to matters that's going to affect my hereafter. It's impossible. Because they're judging and they're thinking from one mind, when the believer should be thinking from another mind. So I can't fully find consoling them. I can't share with them all my issues and my problems because they can't give me the proper guidance. They may give me some things that's going to help me, but they might be giving me something that's going to misguide me because they're not coming what Allah says and His messenger say. And we know that's what only place where the true guidance is. Now, so we have to have that balance, and we don't have this whole relying upon and full support upon those who do not believe in Allah and His messenger. And at the same time, there cannot be a true love. How can there be a true love when someone does not love the one that you love? when they oppose the one that you love. Now, automatically sometimes we see that if this person, I'm married to this woman, whoever got something to say about my wife, we got a problem. Somebody got something to say about my brother, we got a problem, right? Think of our earthly, our dunya, worldly relationships, that sometimes we will support people when they wrong, just because we say we love them, just because they from us. Think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this message. How can you have the same love for a person who does not have love for Allah and His messenger? Or even worse, they oppose and they hate and they fight against that. How can there truly be love in your heart for them? Because this person does not love the one who I truly love, who my heart is attached to. So there's a difference between having this love for the individual and just general human respect and kindness and care and concern. Right? So we have to have that balance. So we show our care and concern towards mankind, animals, the environment. The Muslims are environmentalists. We're everything. We have a duty to protect this earth. We have a duty to protect the waters and protect the animals. What did the Prophet ﷺ mention about a woman who was a prostitute, wasn't doing anything, but she helped a dog get water? Jannah. Right? This thing that people thought insignificant, this dusty, rabbit-looking dog, she gave it water. And what did he say about the woman who they said, this woman, what do you say about this woman? She prays and fasts and does this, but she keeps cats locked up so they can't eat, and in order she doesn't feed it. There's no good in her. She's praying, she's fasting, but because she's oppressing this animal, there's no good in her. Think about it. So Islam is a balanced way. It's not that all we do is pray and fast. It's our interactions with the people. How do we treat others? How do we treat other things? We have to do everything in a balanced way and deal with everything in a just manner. We are supposed to protect this earth and everyone on it. It's our duty. And we're slacking with our neighbors, right? How many of us really know the people next door to us? The people that lives across the street from us? And are we concerned about how they eating tonight? Do they have their needs? Is something going on? Are we really being the right type of neighbors? Are we visiting them when they're sick? What have we done to extend a hand to, and even to invite them to Islam? We should believe we have the best thing, we have the best gift, but we don't share it with people. That's the wrong stinginess. This we're supposed to be sharing with the people at every moment we get the opportunity. Why are we doing that? Are we doing it with our family members that we say that we care about? If you truly care about them, try to save them from the fire. Try to save them from the fire. If you see them walking into the street, aren't you not going to stop them? If you see them about to get burnt or get shot, you got to try to save them. Save them from the real punishment, the real torture, the real pain. If indeed you truly love them. If you truly have some care and concern about them. And this is a duty that we should take upon our Muslims and non-Muslim family, because sometimes our Muslim families, they may be off the path and may be doing wrong as well. So we need to call them back as well. We need to be concerned about their religion. It's not enough. It's not enough just because you say La ilaha illallah. Just because you say just because you're Muslim, it is not enough. That is the least. Allah says, don't die except that you're Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, Man qala la ilaha illallah dakhala jannah. Whoever says that will enter paradise. But that does not mean that you will not be punished by the fire first. That does not mean that. That does not mean that. So being a Muslim is not enough. That's only enough to get you out the fire and get you into Jannah. After whatever time that you're going to have to serve in that torment, however long that may be. So it's not enough, brothers. It's not enough, sisters. So call your families. Tell them, get right. We need to get ourselves right. Talk to the people who are not Muslim. Tell them to get right. Because if you care for somebody, you want good for them. And if you believe Islam is good, then give it to them. Otherwise, why do you have it? Why do you say you're Muslim? Right? If it's no good, then stop practicing it. Don't believe in it. But if it's good, give it to him. We stop there, inshallah. هذا وصلى وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Any questions? Yes. Alhamdulillah. Okay, inshallah. You ready to move the time?
Maybe tomorrow.
Or you want to move it back, Sheikh? Or
Right. Tomorrow next, to get to